Hey, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. A day before Thanksgiving. This is Tracy Lewis from Stuff and Things, and I wanted to discuss mailing of cards. I was on my Paper Pumpkin Facebook group, and someone was talking about this particular card not being able to be posted first class with just the first class postage. And there was some debate about that. And then we talked about some tricks for getting a lumpy card through the system, through the machine, and versus what you have to pay if you want it to be hand stamped. So I wanted to do a quick review of everything I know. I mail cards all the time now that I'm traveling, so I have experienced some different things, and I've created some tools to help me, created or gathered tools. So basically what I have is the same tool that the postman has. If you go into the post office, they have this, what I call the mail jig, and it has a 1/4 inch thick slit into in my case I used chipboard, and the postman will just take your letter. I'm going to use this one. This is from the October Paper Pumpkin, and it's the one that was being debated. The one trick here is when you put your letter in, you put the back side on the machine side where they're going to have to stamp it. So that is the very first trick that I have always done. You don't want the machine has to slide through the top 1.5 inch to get the stamp in place. So here's my letter. I haven't sealed it, but I'm going to put it through the jig and feel if it goes through. Now, it does barely go through. I think if I had the envelope sealed, it would go through without any problem. It's a little bit snug right now. The reason why is that these envelopes are a thick cardstock. So the other trick that I have been doing is when you glue down the flap, there's this little lip, and it can get caught. So I take pieces of Scotch tape and I tape down the corners to make sure that it won't get stuck in the machine. So I'm going to say, now the next thing is weight. According to the internet, the maximum weight for first class mail letters is 3.5 ounces. I have a food scale. If you own a food scale, you can double it up as using it for testing your mailing of cards. I have weighed a whole bunch of cards. So this is like a pretty heavy duty. It's got sequins. It's a shaker, so it has foam. It has very thick cardstock for even the envelope. And I'm going to set it on here. I have it set to ounce. And it is 0.7 ounces. I mailed my mom a card that it was really thick and chunky and heavy, and it was 0.9 ounces. Now remember, the max that you can send is 3.5 ounces, and I have never gotten any of my cards even close to that. So that's my opinion on the October Paper Pumpkin, is that it will go through the regular postage just fine. I have an article on my blog. I'll link to the YouTube description that just talks about this mail jig. It's easy to make. Now this one. This card has actual cardboard in it. It's got some height to it. I've got, like, this star is up high, plus on top of it being dimensional, it has all these little rhinestones. So again, the trick is you put all of the bumpy stuff face up when you put it into the envelope, so that the back of the card is what goes through the mailer. See, and you've got all this extra frilly stuff. So this could potentially be too thick for one, because it's totally filling in my envelope. My envelope that I have for this also is a very dense, thick envelope. It's curling the paper. So let's do a weight on it. This weighs 0.7 ounces. And that's even with the cardboard. So now I'm going to take it and see. See, now this is actually, for how chunky it looks to me, it is actually sliding through easier than the Paper Pumpkin one, which was also a thick card with the fun foam. This actually just has the cardboard that makes it thick. So this I would send through no problem. It's smooth as a baby's bottom on the side where the machine goes. And I would be sure to tape down my corners. Not a problem. Now this is another paper pumpkin from last year. And it has this giant, I think you can see that, this giant, thick, clear crystal that came with the kit. It also has an actual double-lined envelope, so it's a candidate to have some issues. So I'm going to, again, putting it in face up with all the bumpiness toward me, closing the lid, going to tape my corners down really good. I feel the bump here. Now, here's another trick. This bump, I put it in the wrong way. It's on the machine side, so I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to reverse it so that the bump is not on the machine side, so it doesn't interfere at all with that. Okay, so now the bump is on this half, not on the lid half. I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to try to put it through my jig and see if it fails. Okay, now I would say that this particular one, look at how much that catches. This is like the first card that I have tested with my jig that for sure has a catch. So, and you can even see it's making a bump. In this case, I would go to the post office. I would walk up to them and say, my card it's too thick and it's going to catch. I want to have it hand stamped, and they will happily charge you 21 cents. That's all it costs, and they will stamp it with hand stamp. They'll put the extra postage, the 21 cents on, and off it will go. So this is the first one that I have actually seen that definitely needs to be hand stamped. So now I have my last card. This is actually a Distress Oxide card that I put this big thing of crystals, and it's built up, and on top of the crystals, on top of the dimensionals, it has a knot for the ribbon. So again, I don't see, now I'm looking at the way my crystal goes, I don't have any way of avoiding the hand stamped area of the 1.5 inches, but I will keep this knot as far away from the hand stamped side. I think it will be more than 1.5 inches away. I will close it. It already doesn't feel anywhere near as thick as that last one, but let's just go ahead and put it through the jig and see what it does. Oh, weight-wise, let's check the weight on this. Oops. I'm gonna turn it off, back on so it's at 0. Wait for it to 0 out. That is, again, 0.7 ounces, so not a problem weight-wise at all. So this one goes through without any problem. I don't feel any glitches, any catches, not a problem. So this card, I would happily tape the corners down, put regular first-class postage, and send it on through. Hopefully going through these 4 different cards is helpful for you as you plan to send out your Christmas cards and any other holiday cards that you're going to do for this season. And hopefully for the paper pumpkiners who were debating whether or not those shaker cards were able to go through the regular mail, will watch this and know that it should have no problem going through the mail. Of course, this is just my opinion with my own tools, so if you at all are in doubt, just go to the post office. It's kind of interesting to sit in the line, and they'll give you all their tips and tricks, and they're very helpful. Thanks for watching.